Hi, I'm Hillary Ziegler, and I am excited to show you these brand new fiction books. We have two new books in the Family Heroes series. This one is keeping us healthy and keeping things going. And both of these books represent lots of different jobs that people have that serve the public, like for instance, a teacher or a policeman or a volunteer. We also have school bus drivers and firemen and postal workers represented in this book. And there's rhyming text on every page as your children read this sweet story. My parents serve the public, make the world a better place, and when they can help others, they will in every case. You can find nurses, doctors, pharmacists, and other people in the healthcare field in this book as well. Fair Shares is the story of Hare and Bear who both want pears, but unfortunately they can't reach them, so they need a solution. And they realize they could use some chairs. So in the story, Hare needs 2 chairs and Bear only needs 1 to reach the pears in the tree. And so you can have some great conversations with your children about equity versus equality. In Draw Me a Story, Anna is reading one of her favorite fairy tales when Little Red pops out and says, "Yoo-hoo, I'm tired of doing the same thing over and over and over again." So Anna thinks for a minute, grabs her markers, and she draws Little Red doing something fun like going to the fair. This is such a great idea that other characters start to ask Anna to draw them differently in their story too. So Anna draws Tom Thumb riding his bikes, and this continues with lots of other fairy tale characters too. So Anna draws more and more stories of them having fun together, and this fun continues until Anna becomes an illustrator at the end of the story. The Perfect Shelter is a beautiful story about a family that is walking through the illness of one of their loved ones. In the story, one of the sisters is sick, and so the 2 sisters that have so much fun together playing and building shelters, they realize that their life is a little bit different than they anticipated once the illness affects their family. And so their emotions are mirrored in the weather as it rains and snows and storms. And the younger sister struggles with all the emotions of asking, why is this happening to my sister? But finally they do have wonderful adventures together again in the hospital, and they realize that they are the perfect shelter for any storm that may come their way, as long as they're together and they're loving each other. We've got a new peek inside a fairy tale book. This one is The Elves and the Shoemaker. And just like all the other books in this series, the colors are absolutely gorgeous, and there are these beautiful cutouts throughout the book as it tells the story of the elves that help the shoemaker to make beautiful shoes for all of the people in the village, and the shoemaker thanks the elves by making them beautiful clothes in return. It's a great story of kindness, and the presentation is just beautiful. Luna loves art, and she gets to go to an art gallery at a museum with her class on a field trip, and she is just having a wonderful time, but one of her classmates, Finn, is not. And she's not really sure why, but at one of the exhibits he says, "Families don't look like that." Luna's mom, who is a chaperone on the trip, says, "Some families look like that, some do not. Some families are related, some are not. Some families are together, some are apart. There are lots of different families, like all this different art." And after they talk, then Finn has a much better time at the museum, and he and Luna actually trade some art at the end of the story. There is real art shown in this book, so you can talk with your children about that as well. Senor Roscoe on Vacation is one of our new bilingual books. We also have Monsieur Roscoe on Vacation. In this book, your children can learn basic phrases and words in Spanish or in French if you buy the other book. And it follows Senor Roscoe as he goes on vacation. He is going to learn all about vehicles and food and ways to travel and vacation words about the seashore and camping and weather. As you read this story together, each page has common phrases like gracias and adios. And it also has the words in Spanish and in English so that you can teach your child the word for common foods or how to say buenas noches at the end of the night. Hotel Flamingo is a fun new chapter book series that follows a girl named Anna who is trying to restore the hotel to its former glory. And throughout the book, she is trying to help all the animals, big or small, feel at home in her hotel. I Want to Dance is a sweet story about a little white rabbit that wants to dance. And when she comes to a ballet school and sees the beautiful, graceful ballerinas, she asks if she can be a part of their class. And so eventually more rabbits want to join in. And when the older girls have a recital, the bunnies decide to have their own recital as well. And so the girls come to support the rabbits at their ballet recital in this sweet story. Kenzie and Max's lives are turned upside down when their family has to move to London suddenly. There are secret codes and adults that are acting funny as these two twins have to figure out what has happened to their parents. You will not want to put this book down as you read the story of Kenzie and Max. This fun new book is another book about bears. But as you read the story, you'll see that bears actually don't want another book about them. So it starts like this. Once upon a time, in a deep dark forest far, far away, there lived an old brown bear. Oh no, no, hold it right there. Not another book about bears. Bear, you're kind of interrupting my story. What's the problem? Do you know how many books have been written about us? I'll tell you, too many. Whenever you open up a book about a bear, we have to perform the story for you. Even if we're in the middle of something really good, like sleeping, snoozing, or napping, we have to jump up and do whatever the book says. Why do you like reading about bears so much? So Bear breaks the fourth wall. He's talking to the reader, and he is giving his case for why bears should not have to be in books anymore. And so as you go through the story, Bear is going to suggest some other characters that he thinks might be good for books. And at the end of the book, the reader finds a perfect solution for both of them. Your kids will love this funny story about bears.